Hello and welcome back to the channel. Now hopefully you're keeping up with our weekly episodes, and if you'd seen last week's on the Golf R, we completely got that finished up. And if you look behind us, that poor Audi RS3 is looking sad after getting beaten by a £10,000 Golf R. Now today you join me on a brand new build, and it just got delivered yesterday evening. I couldn't record because it was quite dark, but I'll put some clips in to show the car being delivered. Now before we get into this video, this is not a paid shout out, this is not a sponsorship, but a huge shout out to M&M Recovery. There is no other recovery company that I would ever use, so I'll leave their number down below and check them out. Any Copart sites, any BCA sites, any Mannheim sites, or even a breakdown, just give them a call and they'll be happy to help you. Now, this is my new 2018 Ford Ranger. We got this huge chrome front grille. Chrome everything. Look, massive BF Goodrich tyres. We got this beautiful leather interior. Just look at the space in the back. Amazing. Now this might seem super random. Why have I gone and bought a pickup truck? Now, if you haven't seen the previous episodes, go back and see those builds, but we started off with a standard Volkswagen Golf Mark 7. That was intended to be used as a complete daily car, something I can nip around to the shops, that kind of thing. Then we went on to the Ford Focus ST. That was something I just wanted on the weekends, a bit of a pocket rocket, something that we can modify, make a bit better and just make it aggressive. Then we went on to the Volkswagen Golf R build, and that was something I just wanted again for the weekend, a hatchback, something quick, something I could use on a daily basis if I wanted to. And then we're building something. I wanted something bigger. I wanted something that we could throw parts in the back and just go on a long trip and go pick up car parts all over the country. I absolutely hated relying on postal services. Even if a part was about 20 minutes away, I couldn't go and grab it just because I didn't have the space in my car. So this is the solution, a 2018 Ford Ranger. And I can't lie, looking at the pictures when I bid on the car, it was looking a lot nicer than this. The damage is really bad. So let's get into that. So we start off on the windscreen. No foot brake. As you can see, the suspension's been smashed, so I'm guessing a brake line's broken, something like that. It's got no brakes. Secondly, no coolant. I don't know why it hasn't got any coolant. It doesn't look like the radiators are hit in any way, but we'll get into that. And then the most obvious damage. It looks like it's rammed into something. I don't know what it is. And it does look like we've got structural damage. Of course, here on the driveway, I haven't got the facility to be pulling vehicles, jigging vehicles, that kind of thing. I haven't got a frame machine, so it might have to go to a frame machine to get pulled out properly. But I'm not complaining. The price I paid for this car is an absolute joke. These cars are worth anywhere between £15,000 and £20,000. I paid under £6,000 for this pickup truck. And at the moment, it's looking very boring. It looks like a stock, basic Ford Ranger. I want to go ahead, put some arches on it, maybe put some nice wheels, a nice front bumper. We have to change the bumper anyway, so maybe a Raptor grille. If you've got any ideas, throw them down in the comments and we can get to that. Right, so at the moment, like I said, the car doesn't drive, it doesn't brake, I need the car mobile. So I'm going to start off with getting the car jacked up, pull that wheel off and see what damaged parts we've got below. I'm guessing the drive shaft's popped out, I'm guessing the brake line's been snapped somewhere along the line. So let's have a look at that first, and then we can get to stripping the rest of the front end. Once we've got the front end stripped, we can see what chassis parts are damaged, what structural parts are damaged, parts that we can't go ahead and change, and then we can get the car over to the jig, the body shop. Now this just got a lot worse. This just got a lot worse than I thought it'd be. If we come in. So obviously the wheel was pushed all the way back, and I thought maybe an upper strut or something was broken, but you can see here where the actual upper support mount, this top wishbone, whatever you want to call it, is is bolted, that whole plate has been twisted backwards. And that's not something that you can just bolt on and off. It's actually welded to the chassis. So this might need to go to the jig a lot sooner than I thought it would. But on the positive, we've got some wheel spacers. They look cool.
So what's the plan?
What is the plan? What is the plan? That is a good question. Okay, plans just changed. Instead of messing around with the suspension, let's get the wing, the bumper, the headlight all stripped.
But what's the point of that then?
Let me call the head mechanic. I have a problem.
I got a bigger problem.
This video is going to be a lot shorter than I thought it would be. But before we get it over there, he's going to charge me stupid money just to strip it apart. So let's get the wing taken off, let's get the bumper taken off, let's get the headlight taken off, so that when we take it to the body shop, he can have a good look at what's wrong with it. Hello, sir.
Yeah,
How are you?
you okay?
Good. Are you at your garage?
Yeah, I am there.
You got space for a new car?
Which car?
Ford Ranger pickup.
What's wrong?
The flitch is bent.
Is it metal or aluminium?
It's metal.
Ring it, let me see. Yeah, but what time you come?
Maybe 2 hours?
Oh, I'm going by 2 hours maybe.
What time are you leaving?
Maybe 1 o'clock, 1:30, 1 o'clock.
Can we get there now? Okay, let me leave now.
But how long? If you late, after 1 I'm going.
After 1? I thought you said 1:30.
Yeah, 1:30, by maximum 1:30. Yeah.
Change of plans again. I've just spoken to the body worker, the panel beater, whatever you want to call him, the person that can pull the frame straight. And he said he's leaving in 1 hour, so we need to give M&M Recovery a quick call, get the car loaded over to the body shop and see what he says about this structural damage. So, as you can probably tell, this project is not going to plan, but we're going to head over to the body shop because honestly, I was not expecting the structural damage to be so low on that suspension part, but we're going to the body shop and let's see what we can get done. So we've made it over to the frame machine, we've got the car loaded on. Our inspector has looked over the vehicle and he's happy with it. He's going to give us a price, so hopefully it's not too bad. Come over and we'll show you what's happening. So the flitch up here, that's been, look how it's been crumpled. He's going to straighten that out and maybe even splice in a new flitch down below. You can see earlier we showed you the suspension bracket that's bent, so he's going to straighten that out and maybe put a new one. You can see little damages like this that we didn't even notice. He needs to straighten all of that out. So what he's going to do for us is just straighten the chassis out, then we're going to take the car back from there and bolt on the wing, maybe a new bonnet and then front bumper. We're going to go with a body kit, so keep up with that. This is the only piece of footage I received from the body shop, but it's so cool to see how the frame machine with that clamp clamps onto that flitch or inner wing and it just pulls it straight. Right, so it's been 4 days since we dropped the car off at the body shop. Let's have a look what he's got done. I just got the car delivered back about half an hour ago, so let's have a look. To begin with, he's got the new bonnet on. It's a copy bonnet, it's not an original bonnet, but it fits perfect. We've got the new headlight in and the driver wing. It's all looking amazing. But what matters is, how's he done on the internals? What we took the car there for. The work we couldn't do ourselves. The jigging part. Let's have a look. Come in close. So if you remember, this apron here was completely folded back. And look at that, it's looking amazing. It's perfectly straight. The wing is bolted perfectly. Again, with this, you can see a bit of denting there. I'm not too bothered about that. I joked with the body worker, what have you left me to do? Because it looks like he's done everything. But have a look here. We've got the airbox missing. We're gonna have to get a new one of those. We still have no coolant and the coolant bottle is completely smashed to bits. He also straightened the crash bar, which is handy, so we don't have to get a new crash bar. All these little brackets and whatnot have been changed. Amazing. Saves us a lot of work. But let's get the car jacked up and have a look what's going on underneath. Now, the reason why we're getting the car jacked up is if you look from the side, if you look at the wheel from the side, the wheel is pushed backwards still. Look how small that gap is on the back of the wheel compared to the wing. So also, if we come to the front of the car, the wheel is cambered inwards, whereas if we look at the passenger side, that's completely straight. But that's not an issue. If we come over here, I have bought a new hub assembly with the disc, with the caliper, with the lower wishbone, the upper wishbone, and the shock itself. So whatever's gone, we'll get it replaced. Let's get that wheel off, all the suspension apart, and then we'll go ahead and put the new one on. Light work, baby. Safety first. Always axle stand. I also forgot to mention, if you remember earlier on when we dropped the car off to the body shop, it had a smashed wheel on. So the body shop actually lowered this spare wheel from under the deck and put it on the car for us. So we still have that tyre to worry about. It looks like the rim's okay, but the tyre itself has a cut in it. So the first thing that is so obvious is this upper wishbone is still bent. This ball joint here is supposed to sit around here. That would explain why the wheel's been pushed back. But just as a safety precaution, I'm not going to mess around and try and change just one upper wishbone, one lower wishbone. We've got the whole suspension leg, so let's just get this one torn apart and get the new one on. I think we found the cause of why we have no brakes on this car. You can see all the brake fluid has leaked out of this joint here, so we will need a new brake line as well. Getting started, I'm just going to tear everything off this corner. So starting off with the outer tie rod, just hammering that out because I'm going to buy a new one anyway. Once that's out of the way, we can move on to the wishbone, the lower wishbone. It has two bolts going through the subframe, one at the back and one at the front. Fairly simple to take off, just undoing the nut and then pulling the bolt out. Before you can get to the front bolt on the wishbone, I need to lower this skid plate. Smacked my face. And that didn't go to plan. So now onto that front wishbone bolt, undoing the nut, and then the bolt just simply undoes and comes straight out the subframe. Then onto the drop link or drag link, so putting some pressure onto the anti-roll bar and just hammering that drop link out. I'm going to go with a brand new drop link as well, so I can just hammer that out. And then onto that broken brake line, that just undoes at this joint here. Speed sensor. There's really no electronics on this corner, there only is just a speed sensor, very simple to remove just with a flat screwdriver. Onto the shock. So the shock is held in by three 13mm bolts. As you can see, I'm using a professional breaker bar here because they are nylon threads and they get really tough to remove. Once that's undone, we can go on to where the hub meets that upper wishbone. Just one bolt securing that. Right, so we're making good progress. As you saw, we got the brake line disconnected so that the caliper would just come off with the discs and the whole hub. But when we did get the car and we tried to take it off the truck, we noticed in four-wheel drive mode the car wouldn't move, but in two-wheel drive it would drive the rear wheels. And this is why. You can see halfway on the inner side of the outer drive shaft, it's got a snap where it joins in the coupling. So we will have to get one of those. We haven't got one of those yet, so we'll have to order that. But getting there, need to get this shock out. Might as well change this. You can see a kink in the tie rod. But yeah, it's bloody tough, mate. Right, so just got the shock and the spring out, and it's lucky we are changing the whole suspension. This is easily avoidable. Look, if you look at it close up, there's a bit of a kink in the shock. So even if we changed the two wishbones and the hub and we didn't change this, the car still wouldn't drive right. So it's a good job we've got it all apart. That is one heavy suspension leg. Wow. The only problem I'm facing is this upper control arm. This bolt that goes all the way through, it's bent on the end. So no matter how much I pry on this bolt to come out, it just won't move. I've even broken this tool trying to get it out. So what I'm going to do is grind off the end of this bolt here and then hopefully leverage it out. With the old suspension removed, I can go ahead and put the new suspension in. It's exactly the same process as just removing the original suspension, so I'm just going to give a quick overview, but I did use a bottle jack just underneath the wishbone just to hold it up, give me some support, because I am doing it alone and it's a heavy suspension. But here is one complete suspension leg.
Now we're putting in the brake fluid. Dot 4.
We are making amazing progress on this Ford Ranger. We've got the suspension back together. What a nightmare that top bolt was, but we managed to get it out and we've got a new replacement in. So that's all back together. We've got the wheel back on. The next problem we had was the coolant bottle. It's not holding any fluid at all. So to fix that, I've got a used replacement coolant bottle. Fairly simple, just 3 coolant pipes go to it. I think one's a return, one's a flow, and one's maybe an overflow. So let's get that one out and put this one into there. That should mean we've got coolant in the car, we've got brake fluid. At that point, we've only got the airbox to go on and the car should be drivable. Right, that's the water bottle in, but before we get that filled up, let's get the new airbox in. Let's get some coolant in this bad boy and have it running for the first time. The longest I've had this car running is just onto the truck like you've seen in the videos. I've not started it behind the scenes or anything like that. So let's get some coolant in. Hopefully there's no leaks because I'm going to go straight in with the coolant. I'm not going to bother with water. I'm going to put the coolant in. Hopefully there's no leaks, get the car running. And yeah, see how it goes from there. Red coolant. This was what the local car parts store recommended. So I'm going to get this filled up and then yeah, see how it goes. Yeah, sure. Right, we've got a bit of coolant in. Let's get the car started, get it circulated, get the thermostat open, and hopefully if there's any airlock, get that airlock out. Right, that's not a great start. The battery's dead. While I was working on the suspension, I must have had a light on or something. Let's get the booster on and then try that again. Right, let's get the climate to temperature. Get the fans blowing hot air. And let's look out for any leaks. Right, the coolant's bled now, it's holding level nicely, I'm happy with that. No leaks at all. but I did notice when we were running the car, the engine light was on. So let's plug in the diagnostics and have a look what that's all about. I'm guessing it's when the airbox was removed, the mass airflow sensor must have thrown a code, but let's have a look. Right, so yeah, just like I thought, mass or volume airflow A circuit. So it must have been when that mass airflow was disconnected, it just threw a code. So let's go ahead and remove that. Okay, let's have a look. And just like that, the engine light's removed. So, what have we got done so far? We've had the apron jigged, we've had the suspension completely pulled, we've changed the whole suspension leg, we've then changed the coolant bottle, we've bled the brakes so we now have brakes, we've got a new airbox, and for a sneak peek for the next video, out with the chrome. Let's have a look what we've got a replacement. We've got this amazing Raptor style front bumper with the daytime running lights which need to go in, and then we've got this huge black honeycomb grille with LED lights in it, and then we have arches. That's only half of what we've got going on to this car. So stay tuned for the next video. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, hit that like button, subscribe. If you've got any feedback, drop it in the comments.